welcome once again to the political stock exchange. India Today, My India Access's exclusive election tracker, building up to the big elections of 2019 as Rahul and I travel state to state, finding out what's the voter sentiment as per the findings of Access My India.
This is the 6th week of the political stock exchange. This week, Rajdeep and I will look at Assam, we look at West Bengal, and we look at all the northeastern states. Let me introduce you to the guests joining us for this broadcast. Once again, GVL Narasimha Rao, hopefully, once again in his capacity as a cephalogist, not a shrieking neta from the BJP. This time we're joined by Sarita Latfang, if I got that pronunciation right, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Ma'am, welcome. With us also on this broadcast, Yogendar Yadav. Hopefully, once again, more as a cephalogist, less as a neta by himself, and the most important person of all, Pradeep Gupta, the lead pollster of Access My India. It's his team that's been working the phone lines and bringing this poll together for us. Let's start with West Bengal.
That's right. Our gaze this time, Rahul, is squarely on the east because the sun could rise this time in the east. The general feeling is the BJP needs to do well in the east to make up for possible losses their stock may suffer in the north and the west, as we found out. How is the BJP stock doing in the east and that of the regional leaders? We have to start with the biggest state of the east, the state of Bengal. And this is what the political stock exchange now says for Bengal. First, take a look at satisfaction levels with the Mamata Banerjee government. How is Mamata Banerjee doing in Bengal where the BJP wants to make inroads? Satisfaction levels 43%, dissatisfied 30%, average 23%. So it appears in West Bengal that Banerjee is doing reasonably, not as great as she was doing a couple of years ago. Clearly there's been a bit of a dip in the state government's ratings, and many would say that's not surprising after 6 years now in power, 7 years now in power. Take a look then at West Bengal Chief Minister. Who should be the Chief Minister? Here the numbers are clearer. Mamata remains the dominant figure. 53% is the next Chief Minister, should be Mamata Banerjee. And those are high figures when you look at even all India netas compared to most. Mamata is above them. Only Naveen Patnaik really stood out in the 60s. Dilip Ghosh next, 12%. Babul Supriyo of the BJP, 5%. So the two BJP leaders at 12 and 5%, well behind. Mukul Roy, once Mamata's key man, just 3%. Buddhadev Bhattacharjee, we almost seem to have forgotten that he ever existed, of the left, 2%. Rupa Ganguly, the firebrand leader of the BJP, also just 2%. I also want to put out one more graphic, which is a telltale one. Modi versus Mamata satisfaction levels. Center versus state in a way. Mamata, 43%. Modi is 51%. So that should be some cause of concern. Should 2019 become a presidential kind of election, who do you want at the center? But Derek O'Brien of the Trinamool is first joining us. Derek O'Brien, how do you see these numbers? Your Chief Minister's popularity remains high, but your party's popularity and your government's popularity is slowly dipping.
We know that we've done very, very good work in Bengal, and we're going to be having a very good result.
Do you accept that the performance of the government is not seen as high as that of the Chief Minister? The Chief Minister's popularity is high, the government's is dipping now. Do you concede a measure of anti-incumbency or not?
Of course, I don't concede that. When you have such a competent, such an experienced, such a high profile, and such a hands-on Chief Minister who has gone and done district administrative meetings, over 450 of them. The two go together. Make no mistake, no arrogance here, no cockiness. But in Bengal, it's only a battle for who will come second and who will come third and who will come fourth.
So no fear of the BJP. You have absolutely no fear because the BJP is investing a lot of political capital in Bengal. They believe this is their growth state. They won just 2 of the 42 seats there last time. You won 34. They are saying they'll go up as high as 2022. You believe based on these numbers that's not going to happen?
No, I like the BJP number of, I think they've given the number they said. No? I think the BJP president gave a number 2-2. I think that's the correct number actually. 2-2 is correct. It's 2 minus 2 will be
2 minus 2. Okay. 2 minus 2. So you're saying the BJP will be blanked out even as Amit Shah says they'll get 22. Derek O'Brien, always in a positive mood. Appreciate your joining us here and giving us first
Rajdeep,
reaction to the numbers.
You know, we were in Kolkata just last week.
Yes.
Trinamool leader after leader, privately conceding that the BJP is gaining strength and that the fight will be between the BJPs. This is all 2 minus 2 is all.
Absolutely. I think somewhere in these numbers, early numbers, Rahul, there's a sense that the Trinamool stock is not as buoyant as it was.
But here is the thing from the BJP's perspective, GVL. 53% of the respondents want Mamata Banerjee back as Chief Minister once again. So if there's anybody in the BJP who thinks that come the next elections, the BJP has done enough groundwork to win the state and take it away from Mamata Banerjee, this data suggests you're far from that. All your BJP leaders taken together add up to less than half the popularity of Mamata Banerjee.
But from the comments of Derek, I think it's very clear he's not his usual gutsy leader that you really hear him to be. He's very much mellowed.
No, he said you're 2 minus 2, 0.
That's what he's telling for public consumption. He knows it is 2 and 2, 22. And we are targeting at least 22 seats in Bengal. And we will reach assembly via parliament. It's our primary. We will, first of all, we will win Lok Sabha polls in Bengal, and then her fort will start crumbling like the left front crumbled for several years.
No, because
so it looks very strong today. But once we breach the parliamentary strength in Bengal, I think assembly will come down on its own.
Yes,
I absolutely love the overconfidence here of the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Rao. But I just want to say this, that, you know, when Mr. Derek O'Brien said the 22, I absolutely think that the BJP are not even going to get 22 because they're actually in a catch-22 situation. Because when it comes to the united opposition, that's when we'll see how they pave their way to the assembly.
Which united opposition are you talking about?
It will.
Where will the Congress go? Will you ally with the left or will you ally with Mamata Banerjee?
That is for all of us to decide.
No, so how is the united opposition?
When the time is right, we shall decide.
There is no united, that's a chimera. Where is there a united opposition?
When the time is right,
you can't even make up your mind on whether you will be with Mamata
but definitely
or the left,
is in a catch-22 situation.
Mamata hasn't indicated she wants you on her side.
We shall decide when the time is right.
Because Rahul,
it's for Congress to decide.
Absolutely. Rahul, Mamata Banerjee is very clear. Like any regional stock in this market, they want to first build their own equity. They are not here to do any special favors for the Congress. She's already said, I'm contesting all 42. It's for the Congress to decide, do I then want to tie up with the left, which might be, if they want to, in a sense, bring the BJP stock down, an interesting strategy. You form an opposition of the Congress and the left and the BJP, they split the anti-Mamata vote. That could be a potential strategy, Rahul, for the Congress. Beyond that, I don't see a Mahagathbandhan at this stage between Mamata, left and the Congress. That's the kind of partnership that's not happening at the moment in Bengal.
Can we play out now data about the performance of the central government and how people perceive the performance of Prime Minister Modi and who they'd like to see as the next Prime Minister? Coming up on your screen first, people's perception about the performance of the central government. So let's see how the people of Didi's West Bengal perceive the performance of the Modi government. So that's coming up on your screen right now. When people were asked, are you satisfied with the performance of the Modi Sarkar? 51% of the respondents, that's a big number mind you, said they like the performance of the central government. 25%, less than half, said that they were dissatisfied, and 22% found the performance of the Modi Sarkar to be average. Who did people want as India's next Prime Minister? Now this is an interesting question because remember, this is where Mamata Banerjee is very popular, she's very strong. Apart from Asansol and Darjeeling, the BJP didn't do particularly well in across the state. They didn't pick up seats. They picked up about 16% of the vote share, but not seats. Who would people like to see as the next Prime Minister? When this question was asked, 46% of the respondents said they'd like to see Narendra Modi as next Prime Minister. 20% said they'd like to see Rahul Gandhi as next Prime Minister. There's Mamata Banerjee also at 21%. She's not there in the data, but she is on Access My India's data. 21% saying Mamata Banerjee as next Prime Minister. Pradeep Gupta, there seem to be two different streams of numbers emerging from West Bengal. The first set of data about the performance of the central government where people seem satisfied. Then the question about the state government where Mamata still seems to rock on very strong, which essentially suggests that while in the Lok Sabha election there could be a closer fight, in the assembly elections, Mamata Banerjee at this moment still holding firm.
Rahul, there are three dynamics, important dynamics about Bengal. Bengalis are very slow to any change, even when it comes to changing the government. That's the reality, that's first. Now the second, the kind of demography Bengal has, 27% Muslim and 23% scheduled caste. It means 50% votes, which is traditionally was not favoring to BJP, and that is the reason why you can clearly see over the years BJP could not do better in Bengal. But this time, recently you must have seen the panchayat elections where left and Congress practically wiped out, and BJP could secure second position. So that's the one area of concern for the Congress and left, whether to alliance with the left or whether to alliance with the Mamata Banerjee TMC.
But the question is, and Yogendra Yadav, the question is, will Bengal therefore see what psephologists call the split vote? That you vote one way in a state election, one way in a general election, so the BJP's chances are better in a general election than a state election, or is it actually a battle for second space, where the BJP gets their percentage of votes keeps increasing, but they're unable to cross that hump enough to actually start getting seats? Do you believe that Bengal is at that crucial stage, inflection point now? Will the BJP start getting seats, or is it still about getting more percentage of votes?
Not quite there, Rajdeep. Bengal is going through a very complex and very fluid stage, and unfortunately we are trying to grasp that reality with the help of some very crude indicators. Modi, Rahul, I mean, these are meaningless indicators in the case of Bengal. The real issues are very serious corruption, very serious criminality, mafia rule at the ground level, and very naked form of communalism of the kind BJP is not playing anywhere else. These are the real issues. Unfortunately, our poll is not into those issues. Clearly, the left is coming down from where it was. Congress was marginal, remains marginal. BJP is gaining. But strangely, in the case of West Bengal, this gain of the BJP at the cost of the left actually benefits TMC. Yes, the point is who is second, and it is possible that BJP emerges as the second party, but the operational question is what is the distance between the first and the second? And given this reality, given this complex play, the second would be far behind the first. And in this election, we do not know how it will play out 5 years from now, but in this election, in other words, BJP seems to be gaining votes, but is far, far away from where it can begin to convert votes into seats. There are three tiny pockets, one in the western extreme of West Bengal, other in North Bengal, the other is a tiny part of South Bengal, where BJP has some hope of conversion. And it doesn't seem from the figures you have provided that they are close to converting votes into seats.
Rajdeep, I think it's been, in the last elections, we have seen the state see multi-coordinate contest, but this Lok Sabha polls will be a direct contest between the Trinamool Congress and the BJP.
He made a very serious accusation to you in that. He said that you're practicing a form of communalism in Bengal that you don't practice anywhere else. You want to make it bipolar. You want to make it bipolar. Hindu versus Muslim is the suggestion.
I think that's a very perverse way of looking at it, because it is Mamata Banerjee who has followed rabidly Islamic communalist approach in Bengal, even during the last Dasara celebration.
So she reaches out to the 30% Muslim vote, you reach out to the 70% Hindu vote. Is that the way you want to see Bengal?
She has overplayed her communal card, and therefore she's under pressure to prove her Hindu credentials. We've seen how she is distributing Bhagavad Gita, how she is going to Puri Jagannath temple, declaring herself to be a Hindu. All this she has now started doing because she realized that she has overplayed the communal card.
You're saying you're only reacting to Mamata Banerjee.
We are not reacting. She is reacting to us. And today, I think the BJP has an upper hand because the NRC, which has a huge influence in Assam, is likely to become an important factor
Very
in West
interesting,
Bengal
because when I asked
also.
this question at our India Today East conclave recently, I was told by BJP leaders this is only restricted to Assam. It has nothing to do with
This,
Bengal.
no, there
You know,
are
that's
demands.
my
This
problem.
will become,
okay,
because
you
they
say
have
it will
used.
become. Yogendra Yadav wants to respond to what you're saying.
Communists and Trinamool Bank Congress have used this influx as a vote bank measure.
Okay, but we got a different impression from Ram Madhav, but go ahead, Yogendra Yadav.
I just wanted to remind ourselves that the first half of 20th century, Bengal was one of the most communally sensitive areas. And after some 50, 60 years of relative peace, that is being disturbed by a very naked form of Hindu-Muslim hatred that is being incited by the BJP. And yes, Trinamool Congress is playing the standard game of the so-called secular force, which is making Muslims a hostage vote and pandering to the needs and requirements of the Muslim clergy. We are, in other words, looking at a very dangerous game in West Bengal, no matter what the election results are. Anyone who loves India and wants India to have a future should be very worried about
Mamata Banerjee says a Muharram procession will get preference over a Durga Puja Pandal or another procession that's taking place. That doesn't seem very fair either. So both parties are playing their own political games. Let there be no question about it.
Absolutely. No, but look at what's happened now. Look at what's happened in the last week. Now she's giving 28 crores to Puja Pandal. So there's also a reaction that Mamata Banerjee has realized that she can't only rely on that 32% Muslim vote. She's got to also
she,
get
like
back.
Rahul Gandhi, is having to do soft Hindutva, show that she's actually a Hindu, which for the longest time she took for granted.
But I think this is a stock which you could call volatile. Therefore, what's happening in Bengal? Look at violence figures. Across the last 12 months, perhaps the state which has reported the maximum numbers of political violence is Bengal. And that is the worry. In this, it's a very deadly stock.
It is Trinamool which is causing these murders. It's not both ways.
They blame
it's
you.
Purely,
They blame you.
No,
they tell me that you
killed our
send in your cadres
Dozens
from
of our
Jharkhand.
cadres have been massacred in Bengal.
No, they are in power. Hang on, ma'am. Let's be clear. They are in power. It's a government of Trinamool Congress. Law and order is a state something. They've targeted even Congress.
Yes,
they've
they
targeted
have,
Congress, left and BJP.
No, but Rajdeep, the only thing here, what I'm trying to say is when we're talking about naked communalism, okay, we have witnessed what happened during the Sera. That is what Dilip Ghosh and Locket Mukherjee did when they took out swords in the procession. So who is inciting it? It's not only one party, it is also BJP that is actually inciting such kind of feelings amongst the public. So it is very wrong to actually put the finger on one particular party, I think.
So who is really, I mean, is this going to be the issue of Bengal? Is this how the sun is going to rise in the east? GVL Narasimha Rao, very quickly. Yogendra Yadav is warning against Bengal returning back to the politics of the early 20th century of the Lord Curzons of a division of Bengal on communal lines. Is that the way you want to grow forward? Or is it based on Vikas? What has happened to Vikas?
I think people of Bengal, people of the country know this is what left practice for 25 years, and they simply stayed in power by using their muscle power.
You're getting the left vote. You're getting the younger left voter. Are you getting Mamta's voter also on your side? Is that the challenge for you?
No, there is no voter of any particular party. People vote based on this is one state where there is no committed vote. Otherwise, left is a party of ideology. They should have stuck at least 40%. The way that this stock is falling, this is no ideology. This is purely who can capture, who can really retain their support base.
You know, I want to do next a very interesting comparison. What we've been doing is working with our research team and compiling the performance of Prime Minister Modi, Rahul Gandhi, the Congress president, and chief ministers in every state with other chief ministers. So now we've got about 23 states we've put out. So let's just show you, and I'll start with how Mamata Banerjee's popularity compares with that of other state chief ministers. So just here, what data you're about to see next, we'll show you how does the performance and popularity of the West Bengal chief minister compare with the likes of a Naveen Patnaik in Orissa or a KCR. This is the kind of comparison you can only see on the political stock exchange. Coming up on your screen for the first time now, a comparison of the relative popularity of chief ministers. The top 5 chief ministers of India. So you've got Vijay Rupani from Gujarat, this is rank number 5 at 48%. So the Gujarat Chief Minister is relatively new to his job once again. So he's at number 5. Then there is Arunachal Chief Minister Prema Khandu, who comes in at number 4 with a 51% approval rating. That's at number 4, the Arunachal Chief Minister, newly inducted into the BJP. Then at rank number 3 is Biren Singh, once again newly inducted into the BJP, 52%. That's from the state of Manipur. He's a footballer and showed us some dribbling moves when we were with him at the East Conclave. Coming in at number 2, and this is very significant because no matter what you may think of Mamata Banerjee's popularity or her politics, she is at this time in her state the second most popular chief minister nationally. That really is some achievement. She's been in power for a long time now. Despite that, 53% of the respondents want her back as chief minister once again. That shows how formidable a leader she is. And I doff my hat to the man on your screen now, Naveen Patnaik. He doesn't give any of us the time of day. He doesn't need to. Because in his state, which is where it matters, and that's really the only thing that matters, 59% of the respondents want him back as chief minister. And there, Rajdeep, I think mainstream media has a bias. You know, the likes of a Naveen Patnaik, even to some extent a Mamata Banerjee, don't quite get the kind of amplification chief ministers from bigger parties do. 59% of the respondents think they love Naveen Patnaik and want him back as chief minister once again.
You know, you always have stocks in the market. You don't know why they are rising. Nobody is able to give a clear explanation. Naveen Patnaik may be an example of that. Mamata, on the other hand, like her or not, is a mass leader. And much like Modi, she's a polarizing figure. And that's why that makes Bengal fascinating. Pradeep Gupta, is there a sense of anti-incumbency against Mamata, or is she still the person to beat in Bengal?
Yeah.
She claims she will get at least 30 seats. Would you agree?
Let me tell you, Rahul, Rajdeep, let me give you one more perspective to this discussion. The hope of first ever Bengali Prime Minister can drive voters to vote for TMC in Lok Sabha election. This is the big question, one. And the other side, when you say the BJP vote share is increasing, and which we have witnessed, is definitely going to translate in seats as well.
So what we want to do now is show you where is Prime Minister Modi most popular and where is Congress President Rahul Gandhi most popular. So I'll take first on your screen the relative level of popularity of Prime Minister Modi across the 23 states we've covered so far in the political stock exchange. So here is Modi's top 5, where people love him most, where they'd like him back in power once again. Sikkim at 73%. 3/4 of the voters of Sikkim want Prime Minister Modi back in power once again. A northeastern state showing you how the BJP has made inroads into the northeast. Then there is Arunachal Pradesh. 63% of the respondents in Arunachal Pradesh want they can see the difference. You know, whether it's new tarmacs being built, new airports, infrastructure projects, they can begin to feel that there is change in the air. 63%. Tripura, 61%. Here, of course, the BJP won on its own steam. 61% of the respondents want Prime Minister Modi in the saddle once again. Then there is Gujarat. This you'd expect. This is his home turf. This is where he was born. This is his Janmbhumi, his Karmbhumi. 61% want him as Prime Minister in Gujarat. Then 59% in Chhattisgarh. This is important because Chhattisgarh is an election-bound state. I want to put this data to Yogendra Yadav. We were talking about the BJP needing to do better in the Northeast. A comparison of pan-India data suggests it's in pockets of the Northeast where the Prime Minister's popularity, relatively speaking, is highest in the country at this time.
Indeed it is, and that's not surprising. What we witness as the Prime Minister's popularity is actually a function of the party system. In a state like Sikkim, Congress now doesn't simply exist. In a state like Arunachal Pradesh, Congress as a party, as an organization, is not there. In Tripura, it is, if anything, BJP versus the left front. Where is Congress? So we are looking at the party system.
What those graphics reveal is the fact that the BJP clearly is gaining in the eastern part of the country, but what they also suggest is that where you have strong regional leaders, Mr. Modi's popularity is not as high. None of these states have really powerful regional subgroups, and that's something that I think could in a sense, play out in the
So
future.
relatively speaking, where is Prime Minister Modi's popularity the least? So what we'll do is we'll flip that graphic now and look at the bottom 5, the 5 states where Prime Minister Modi, relatively speaking, in comparison with his popularity in other states, seems to be doing not so well. So here is the bottom 5. Then there is Meghalaya at 31%. But remember, in a state like Meghalaya, the BJP with an ally now ruling. So it may not be the Prime Minister directly, but you've gotten an entry through the back door. That's the point I was making about ruthlessness. Apart from Meghalaya, there is Andhra Pradesh. This is an area of concern because of the campaign unleashed by Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu that the BJP hasn't given them the status of a special state. There is a lot of anti-BJP feeling there, or at least that's what the data is picking up, and that's something that GVL would like to talk about. He comes from there, so he's not very happy when he sees that data. In Telangana as well, 44%. So Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, 2 states where the BJP and the Prime Minister himself not as popular as he is in other parts of the country. Then there is Nagaland at 44%. And then finally West Bengal at 46%. In that, GVL, from my perspective, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Telangana especially, because you would hope in Telangana you do well, that the battle is between KCR and you. The data seems to suggest that KCR way ahead, and in your own states you are clearly not doing a very good job, GVL Narasimha Rao.
No, I think we talked about this in the past, but even at 44, I think it's still a formidable rating.
Relatively speaking.
No, but fine. You see, you have a excellently somebody who is scoring a double century in every match, scores a half a century in one match, it doesn't become bad performance.
Now, I take your point, but if I was Narendra Modi, what I would be worried, or the BJP, if you want to make it presidential, remember there are states where you maxed out in 2014. I come back to it. The northern states and the western states, they're not there in either of your lists. So they're somewhere middle of the pile. And Bengal, where you need to make growth, Mamata Banerjee is still the one to beat. So I think there are positive signals in the way the Prime Minister's popularity is seen, for example, across the northeast. But there are negative signals in the fact that the states where the BJP will need to win big in 2019, the Prime Minister is not at 60% plus anymore, which he may well have been in 2014.
I want to zip through the last set of data we've put together this week. This is about Rahul Gandhi's top 5 and bottom 5. So where is Rahul Gandhi, relatively speaking, most popular? Where is their greatest traction and appeal for the Congress president? Where is his popularity the least? Coming up on your screen first, Rahul Gandhi's top 5 catchment areas. Right at the top is Meghalaya with 54%, but this is electorally, relatively speaking, insignificant. So, you can be 54% in Meghalaya, doesn't help you come to Delhi. So that's not very significant. There is Andhra Pradesh. In Andhra Pradesh, the fact that he's at 44, in fact, Andhra Pradesh was the only state that we'd seen so far where Rahul Gandhi was ahead of
But there is no Congress in Andhra Pradesh.
Now, Andhra Pradesh and Meghalaya, where Rahul Gandhi is actually ahead of Prime Minister Modi. There's Karnataka at 42%, where he seems to be doing relatively well, where there's a close fight, 42-44, so close fight, Rahul Gandhi in the race in Karnataka. In Telangana also, Rahul Gandhi, relatively speaking, in the race at 39%, which is reasonably commendable given how he's doing elsewhere. Then there is Goa at 37%. Now this is slightly problematic because these are states which are relatively insignificant. Meghalaya, Goa, just 2 seats in Goa. How does that help? Where is Rahul Gandhi's popularity the least? So let's bring that up on your screen now. Rahul Gandhi's bottom 5 states. Where is his relative popularity the lowest? There is Nagaland, where the popularity level is only 15%, but this again is a small state, so not so much damage there. Let's look at the next state. There is Sikkim, which is 18%. Once again, relatively speaking, rather small electorally, and therefore not much damage there either. There is Tripura, where there is only a 19% popularity for Rahul Gandhi. But again, it's a small state. But the point is, in the northeast, it seems the Congress is slipping very clearly. There's West Bengal, where 20%. Mamata Banerjee was high at 21%. But again, the Congress hardly exists in West Bengal, only in Murshidabad, Malda, small parts, and there also they're losing. And then there is Orissa, where the Congress is at 21%.
The entire eastern belt.
So it seems very clearly, Pradeep Gupta, from that data, that it's in the east of India where the Congress is ceding a lot of space, either to regional satraps or to the BJP.
Yeah, it is clearly BJP is making roads in eastern part of India, and which can be witnessed through these numbers.
While you say all that, Rahul, and I looked at those numbers, remember many of them were small states.
Sure.
and they're not going to make that much of a difference.
Sure.
I come back to it. Elections are fought, won or lost in the 8 or 9 big states. And in those big states, from a Modi perspective or the BJP perspective, there is no state where Mr. Modi is getting 60% plus, which is when you really know that there's a landslide.
But there's no state where Rahul Gandhi is doing better than Modi.
Absolutely. So what you have is also the Congress struggling outside a few pockets of the south to also have that high level of popularity, which means actually that both sides have something to ponder over and reflect. And it also means look at the states where the BJP finds its gravest trouble, where there are strong regional leaders,
Sure.
Chandrababu Naidu, K.
No, he is
Chandrasekhar Rao,
himself doing
Mamata
very poorly.
Banerjee. 1 minute. These are all states, whether you call it Jagan or Chandrababu, the fact is, and I think this is the big picture which is emerging, is that you will gradually find that stocks of national leaders are higher where regional parties cede space. The Congress has ceded space, we agreed, in the east, but where regional parties cede space, national parties emerge. Otherwise, you will have a situation, I think, in 2019 potentially where the BJP will need those seats in the east to make up for losses
So
it may
we
suffer in north and
haven't
west.
still done Punjab, Kashmir, we haven't been to Kerala, we haven't been to Tamil Nadu. So that's where we'll focus over the next couple of weeks.
And we are turning, Rahul, to a state that is sometimes ignored but could play a crucial role, Assam, and indeed all the states of the northeast, 25 Lok
And
Sabha
this is
seats on
crucial
offer.
that Access My India will be polling in every northeastern state. We're not ignoring the states in the northeast. We'll start with Assam. Let's begin. And remember, Assam has been torn asunder over the question of the NRC. Is that really the case, or does the NRC enjoy support? We'll find out in just a moment. Rajdeep.
That's right. Let's go straight to Assam, because remember, the BJP made a big breakthrough in Assam in 2014. They won 7 seats of the 14 on offer, and clearly after that won the state elections as well. So the BJP in Assam, and indeed with its allies across the northeast, is emerging a dominant force. What does the political stock exchange say for Assam? Whose stock is up? Clearly, take a look at the numbers. State government performance, the Sarbanand Sonowal government that came into power in 2016, satisfied 44, dissatisfied 29, average 22. So clearly at the moment, Sarbanand Sonowal is in that area where you have a lot of our state governments not too enthusiastic, the voter, but neither is he too disappointed at the moment. Assam's next chief minister, Sarbanand Sonowal, former sports minister, now established in Assam as their number 1 leader, 47%. Gaurav Gogoi, surprising, the Congress is the son of Tarun Gogoi, 22%. Hemanta Biswa Sarma, many see him as the Chanakya of the Northeast, 12% of the BJP. Atul Bora, 2%. Sushmita Dev, 2%. But Sarbanand Sonowal now emerging as, in a sense, the face of Assam for the BJP. Important, Rahul just mentioned the NRC, the National Register for Citizens. Do you support the implementation of NRC? Yes, said 72%. No said 5%, don't know said 23%. Clearly, these numbers suggest an overwhelming support for the NRC. And then back with what Sonowal support level is, no wonder GVL is smiling at the moment. There's good news at the moment relatively for you from Assam.
This only corroborates, vindicates what one sees when you go to the ground. I think a lot of people make this distinction that NRC will be seen by people from a religious perspective. But it is native Assamese versus the illegal immigrants. Even large religious minorities in Assam, the native Muslims of Assam are opposed to the influx of Bangladeshis into Assam.
That's not necessarily what our poll is showing. Our poll is showing within the majority community you are dominating.
No, these numbers you have given, they clearly spell out. That's for the entire Assam. So more than 70% in Assam supporting NRC implementation, while only a 4 or 5% opposing it. So it clearly shows Assam is a state where minorities account for nearly 30% of the
Yogendra Yadav, the BJP always thought that Assam was a very tricky state from the BJP's perspective. It wasn't ever a natural, fertile hunting ground for the BJP. 47% approval rating for Sarbanand Sonowal, 72% of the respondents in this survey backing the idea of the NRC. In terrain that hadn't traditionally been theirs, the BJP seems to be doing just fine.
Rahul, first thing first, the states that we are looking at today Bengal, Assam, Northeast. These are the areas where the BJP needs to improve upon what they did last time. In fact, this is about the only area of the country where BJP has a headroom to improve. So what we should be looking at in each of these places is, can BJP go beyond 2014? If that is the question, then the answer is, at the moment, not so certain. Clearly, Congress has done poorly, but the ratings, as Rajdeep pointed out, are average. It really hinges on the NRC question. I'm actually not surprised by what the answer we have received, because I've been writing about it. The real question in Assam is not whether NRC is a good idea or not. Almost everyone approves it. And this is not only the majority community. I believe a large number of Muslim minority also approve of it. The real question is whether the manner in which it is implemented, is that discriminatory? That is a question we should pick up probably in the next round of the things. The other important issue about Assam that we should be looking at is that BJP has an alliance with AGP, and BJP's success in the next Lok Sabha election depends on keeping that alliance together, and that alliance is seriously under danger. You would recall that Praful Mahanta has actually gone all the way to Bihar to court Nitish Kumar and to forge an alliance against what? Against the amendment to citizenship bill which is coming up. And because in Assam, BJP happens to be a party originally of the immigrants. We forget all these things in Delhi claptrap. In Assam, BJP was originally a party that drew its support from Bengali Hindus, most of whom were migrants. Therefore, there is a real tension. NRC is not a BJP idea. NRC is an idea that began with the Supreme Court, which was actually and the Supreme Court has more than once admonished the Assam government for being lax in implementing it.
But there is...
So let's not, I mean, the picture that we get of NRC in Delhi and the picture that you get on ground are very different.
But there is no evidence in these numbers, at least early numbers, of the Congress staging a recovery. Now this is, just as for the BJP, this is a green pasture where they can grow. They only had 8 of the 25 seats of the Northeast, 7 of them came from Assam. The Congress has receded.
The people in the Northeast have become aware of what is actually happening. They have actually realized how shoddily the NRC has been implemented. In spite of having 25,000 people, officials in the ground level, 80% of the NRC was already implemented during the Congress government, during the tenure of Mr. Tarun Gogoi. And the saddest part is, as of date, the finance minister, that is Hemanta Biswa Sharma, and the chief minister are not on the same page.
Are you ready to have a debate? Are you ready to go into the election with a debate on NRC?
No,
are you ready to take the BJP on the NRC?
See, we support the NRC. If you see in the past, it has been the Congress who has deported the maximum number of immigrants, and the present government has just done just about 1,822.
Just let's get a quick remark from Pradeep before we go to the big number. Pradeep, your sense of what you're seeing with Sarbananda Sonowal, 2 years into power, are these numbers enough for the BJP to feel they can repeat 2014 and 2019, become the dominant party or stay as the dominant party of Assam?
No, we will far exceed our tally.
Okay, you believe you'll far exceed. I've talked about 7 out of 14, you're saying you'll go well beyond. Okay,
well beyond.
Let's hear from Pradeep.
Let's hear from Pradeep.
Rajdeep, let me answer. Yeah, Rajdeep, it is when it comes to Assam, again it is depend on how Congress form the alliance with AIDUF. The other side, if you see, BJP successfully stitched the alliance with AGP and BOPF in the past assembly elections. But without alliance during the general election with AGP could secure only 4% vote. So I don't know whether AGP has got the kind of aura they used to be when in earlier days.
No, but
it is totally depend on the Congress alliance with AIDUF.
With the Badruddin Ajmal and Sirajuddin Ajmal brothers came up, Tarun Gogoi at that time did not want the alliance. He thought that the Congress could go it alone and win, and then we saw what happened. I want to show you now.
There's also a risk there. Rahul, you see, I think the Congress runs a real risk, as you're pointing out. If they go, as Pradeep is suggesting, with the AIUDF, of Badruddin Ajmal. You effectively then balkanize the voter, you split the vote. Then you run the risk of being called a party of the Muslim. I don't think Tarun Gogoi or the Congress in Assam can take that risk. You can do anything post-poll, but you cannot go into the election.
No, but if you don't go in, because the vote will get split, it's a real catch-22 for the Congress.
So
even
I think
the
Congress,
votes which you would have got will otherwise get split.
Absolutely. So the Congress is in a tough position.
For the BJP as of now.
Whichever way you look at it.
No, because
No, will you
AGP
go
is
in,
ready to
ma'am?
ditch
Sarita,
you
will
when
you
it
go
comes
in
to
for a
Citizen
tie-up
Amendment Bill.
with the
They're
Ajmal
absolutely
brothers
going
or
to
not?
ditch you. They're not going to support you.
Sarita, will you go in for a tie-up with the AIUDF?
It is for the leadership to decide. It might be a pre-poll or a post-poll. It is all to be decided.
But it's a
by
very,
the
very
leadership.
delicate balance. You know, if you have a tie-up, there are consequences. If you don't have a tie-up, there are consequences as well. We've discussed the performance of the state government. I want to zip in and now look at the performance of the central government, the perceived performance of the central government. Coming up on your screen first, the question about how satisfied are people with the Modi Sarkar. Here, remember, typically the BJP government at the center has been performing better than the government at the state. 47% of the respondents say they're satisfied with the performance of Prime Minister Modi and his government. It was 43 in the case of Sarbanda Sonobal. So the gap isn't much, but once again, in one more BJP-run state, the performance of the Modi government higher than the performance of the state government. Let's look at the number of people who are now dissatisfied. That comes in at 25%. That's not a very high number. So net-net, in one more state, we are seeing the level of anti-incumbency against the central government not acute. This will play a role in the 2019 elections. This is not like Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh where the numbers are in the high 50s. It's not. But very clearly the number of people who are disappointed is less, substantially less than the number of people who are satisfied with the Modi government. The number of people who think the government's been average is about 22%. After this, let's flip now to the question about the choice for next Prime Minister. Who would the people of Assam like to see as the next Prime Minister come 2019? Coming up on your screen now, responses for Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 51% of the respondents want Prime Minister Narendra Modi back in the saddle. Once again, 28% think they'd like to see Rahul Gandhi. So the one thing that seems to be clear from these numbers, Yogendra Yadav, is that at this moment, 2 years into power, they came into power in April 2016 in Assam, the BJP isn't slipping. Now, whether they're gaining or not over where they were last time is another question. They're not slipping. Assam is not an area of concern for the BJP. Would that be a fair assessment, Yogendra Yadav?
Based on the numbers that we have, this looks like a fair conclusion. But please do remember, as I pointed out right in the beginning, Bengal, Assam, Northeast is where the BJP needs to pick up. That's the only area that provides some headroom for the BJP. If they don't increase, they have nowhere else in the country to increase. They have only losses in the rest of the country.
Through this section on Assam, and presumably in the other northeast states, the point that many are making, the BJP needs to do much better. You won out of Odisha, Assam, Bengal, just 11 of the 98 seats on offer. So there's a lot of headroom. But the question is the BJP therefore looking east? I think that's the point. You need to do much better. Can you do much better than you did in 2018? For example, in an Assam where you already got 7 seats last time.
No, we are not looking to increase our strength in the east because we expect to lose in the north. No, we will retain north. We will expand to the east and the south. That is how we have grown all these years.
You don't need a new stock.
I absolutely like this daydreaming thing that you have. Absolutely.
A state which was ruled by the Congress party for nearly 2 decades, you have Rahul Gandhi struggling below 30%. Look at the popular, if you don't put the name of the state on these numbers, anyone will confuse this to be a Madhya Pradesh or a Gujarat.
No, are you saying you want even Assam to be presidential? Are you saying even Assam will be about Modi versus Rahul? It's not about local issues.
No, you see, we have grown. It's because of our leadership and because of Prime Minister Modi ji, we have grown leaps and bounds in the east. Today, Assam is like what Gujarat has been for us. This is how it is developing.
No, but
it is how it is developing.
We definitely don't want to go into the Gujarat model in Assam, especially in the northeast. We would never want something like that.
Okay, one second. There is political rhetoric and then there is actual psephology. And there is a difference between the two. Remember in Uttar Pradesh, Rajdeep, if you start from the west, you can build a bit of a hawa going all the way to the east, which is what the BJP did in the Lok Sabha elections and followed that up with the assembly elections. The northeastern states are different. The dynamics of in Orissa completely different from that of in Assam, very different from Arunachal, very different from Meghalaya, Shillong, Meghalaya and Tripura. So the point I'm making, and I want you to respond to this, is that it's not as if they're all homogeneous states and they'll vote the same way. However, the Congress between 2014 and now has ceded space. They've lost leaders, they've lost cadres. Amit Shah has been poaching very, very aggressively. He's been headhunting, which means that the Congress of 2019 is a highly diminished Congress in the Northeast in comparison with the Congress of 2014. And the people over there have figured out, if you want to be a part of the central gravy trade, it helps the Northeast. You and I were both speaking to so many Northeastern chief ministers. Look at the work that they're doing. Look at how happy they seemed with the support they were getting from the central government.
Look, 2 or 3 things about the Northeast, and you can look at the other states also in a moment. The fact is, the BJP, either on its own or through its allies, now controls 7 of those 8 states. They've formed this Northeast Democratic Alliance, and they've got the regional parties on their side. Now, these regional parties will go wherever the sun rises in the center. Tomorrow, if the Congress by any chance comes to power in Delhi, expect some of these same regional parties to align with the Congress. That's the nature of Northeast politics. But yes, you're right. I think the BJP has invested a lot of political capital in the Northeast because they see it as a future growth area. I know that GVL Narasimha Rao will keep saying, no, we are not going to lose in the north, we are not going to lose in the west. The reality is, you maxed out there. You need to grow in the east. So they realized this early enough and they've concentrated on it.
Salita,
and the Congress has vacated that space.
That's the problem. Where the BJP is not entering through the front door, they're entering through the back door. They're poaching your leaders, making them their
I
own.
was just coming to that, Rahul. Because,
but ultimately, you're losing ground.
The dynamics in the northeastern part of India is absolutely different. It is not what you see in the north or in the west or in the south. And I would like to refer to the term that you use as headhunting. You know, in Nagaland, they have the headhunters. So, you know, the BJP is basically on a headhunting spree because they do not have proper leaders. They're poaching Congress leaders.
This is true, but what does this count for? You're losing space.
Because Northeast has always been a Congress bastion, and we will be coming back.
Rajdeep, this is a joke. I think nobody is enslaved by any political party. Like journalists can change channels, political leaders also can hop on to another political party.
You find it. Okay, one of the mistakes we make is treat Northeast as Assam. There's a world beyond. You know, there are 8 states now, effectively part of the region, and I think that is where the BJP has managed, even in smaller states. We've seen in Arunachal, we are seeing in Meghalaya, we may even see potential in Mizoram, that the BJP is a growing force in the Northeast through regional parties. Take a look at state government performance. Many of them, as I said, ruled by the BJP, and you'll see the satisfaction levels in Arunachal. 46% satisfied, 27% dissatisfied. Manipur, 43% satisfied, 24% dissatisfied. Meghalaya, government backed by the BJP, satisfied 56%, dissatisfied 16%. Tripura, where the BJP won big this year, satisfied 44, dissatisfied 23. Mizoram, this is the one state, ruling party Congress, satisfied 21, dissatisfied 42. Bad news here for the Congress, because in a state that's going to the polls in just a few weeks, there is anti-incumbency. This is where the Congress has to be worried. There could be a Congress Mukt Northeast, because government backed by BJP in Nagaland, satisfied 46, dissatisfied 26. And Sikkim, where Pawan Chamling simply refuses to go, satisfied 33, dissatisfied 32. So as you are seeing, the one state that I pointed out where the satisfaction levels with the government are less than the dissatisfaction is Mizoram, going to the polls next month. And therefore, Pradeep Gupta, these numbers suggest anti-incumbency in Mizoram. Bad news for the Congress. We could actually have a situation where the Congress is out of power across the Northeast.
Yes.
Would you agree these numbers show anti-incumbency?
Definitely yes, Rajdeep, definitely yes. And there is another emerging party in Mizoram, which is ZPM, Zoram People's Movement, led by ZNP leader Lal Duhama. He is emerging, and you can see his approval rating when it comes to chief ministerial preference is above MNF. So you can imagine the kind of anti-incumbency against Congress. There are two parties, traditionally MNF and now ZNP.
You know, that's the bad news again
led by
for the Congress.
Lal Tugama, who
that's
used
the
to
bad
be
news. Here are the
member of parliament in 1984,
Sure.
Congress member of parliament.
Ma'am, as we end this, show, the fact is that's the bad news for you.
It is
The one state which is again you lost, you've lost ground across Northeast, and you could lose Mizoram. So the BJP with the MNF or with the ZPF could form the government there next.
I think one of our panelists here actually missed out NPP also, because they're again one of the pawns of BJP who
They're
are also
also
trying to
coming
make
into
the
Mizoram.
inroads. Yes, they are definitely trying to make the inroads into Mizoram, but we're very sure that we're going to come back, because the dualistic politics that...
I'm only going by
no,
numbers.
we are
These
coming back.
numbers don't show you're coming back.
Sometimes numbers are not right. You have to be there on the ground. And I've just come back from Mizoram.
Okay,
Take
so
it from
these
me.
are the
I've just
small
come
stock.
back.
I think if you look at small and medium and micro industries in the stock market, these are all stocks which are the low-hanging fruit, Rahul. But the news is...
But
the
it's
BJP
not low-hanging fruit, Rajdeep. They worked very hard.
Sure.
The BJP has worked relentlessly and very hard.
When I say low-hanging fruit, I mean they, one MP, two MPs. The BJP realizes probably that even these two MPs could count. And I think the Congress needs to find a strategy for the Northeast.
But what we've seen just over the past 5 years is a fundamental rearrangement of India's political map.
But on the basis of what Yogendra Yadav said, acquisition, breaking parties, getting leaders over. So the politics may not be ethical, but it shows once again that the BJP believes this is a fertile area.
Oh, absolutely. So let's end this edition of the Political Stock Exchange. Thank you so much to all our guests for joining us. We'll be back with more states next week. As election season comes in, we'll be focusing also especially on Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Mizoram.
That's right. So there's plenty to look forward to on the Political Stock Exchange. Whose stock is up? Whose is down? We'll be back as always. electiontak.in is where you get all the details. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.